Good morning, everyone. I'm Krish, Micah, Jahziel, or Jasareno from BSA 1C. And here are my solutions for problem number 29. Our Carpio Products Inc. was formed at the beginning of the year. Ordinary share has a 25 par value. The following entries affected the shareholders' equity during its first year's operations are below. So the first requirement is to provide explanations for each transaction or journal entry that is given. So for letter A, the record issuance of 5,000 ordinary shares at 30 par value. So I was able to determine the par value from this transaction by determining first the issued ordinary shares by dividing 125,000 to its 25 par value, which will equal to 5,000. And after that, I divided 25,000 of share premium ordinary to the 5,000 ordinary shares issued to determine how much is the excess value from this transaction. So 25,000 divided by 5,000, which will be equal to 5. So that digit will be added to 25 par value so that we will have the 30 par value. Next, the record issuance of 2,500 ordinary shares in exchange for services. So the fair value of the services or organization expense is 75,000. Since there are only 2,500 ordinary shares that was issued, then the excess will be going to the share premium ordinary. So 75,000 subtract 62,500 will equal to 12,500 of share premium. Next, for letter C, the record issuance of 1,000 shares at 40 par value and acquisition of office equipment and building with balance to be paid in cash. So the ordinary shares issued was 1,000, right? With a par value of 40. So since the acquisition of the office equipment and building weren't fully paid by exchanging of ordinary shares, then it will be an accounts payable that should be paid in cash. So next, letter D, the record issuance of 1,500 ordinary shares at 40 par value. So just like what I did from the first transaction. Letter E, the record cash dividends. This is the declaration of cash dividends. Next, the record payment of cash dividends. Since it is common that we can see from the transaction that the cash dividends payable was already paid. For letter G, to close the income for the year to retained earnings. So all incomes that are gathered within the year will always be close to the retained earnings. Next and last, to close dividends to retained earnings. So cash dividends are close to retained earnings so that the company will determine or will have an idea about the cash dividends that they already paid out. For the next requirement is to answer these following questions. For number 1, what is the profit for the year? So the profit for the year was already given, which is the income summary. So 30,000 is the profit for the year. Number 2, how many ordinary shares is outstanding? So there are 10,000 outstanding shares from the transactions or entries that was given earlier. Number 3, the legal capital is 250,000. I was able to get that from multiplying outstanding shares to the par value 25. So 10,000 outstanding shares times 25 will equal to 250,000. That will be the ordinary shares too. Next, what is the total share capital? total share capital is 325,500. I get that from adding ordinary shares of 250,000 to share premium ordinary of 75,000, which will equal to 325,000 of total share capital. Number 5. What is the retained earnings balance at the end of the year? So the retained earnings is to 22,500. So here is how I got it. I subtracted 30,000 with 7,500. That's why I got to 22,500. So you will wonder where I got those numbers. I got those numbers from the last two transactions given earlier, which is the debit of income summary and credit of retained earnings of 30,000, which means there is an income. So, and the last transaction, which is debit of retained earnings, which means a deduction to the retained earnings. Every time that there is a debited of retained earnings, it will always be deducted to the retained earnings. So 30,000 minus 7,500 will equal to 22,500. So number 6. Well, the total shareholders' equity is 347,500. I got it from adding total share capital 325,000 to the retained earnings to 22,500. So 325,000 plus 22,500 is equals to the total shareholders' equity of 347,500. And last, the book value per share of ordinary shares at the end of the year is 34.75. To get that, we only have to divide total shareholders' equity to the outstanding shares. So 347,500 divided by 10,000 will equal to 34.75. So that's it for the problem number 29. That's all, and God bless. Thank you for watching.